Hey everyone, and welcome to Fermentation Friday. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to do a journal on a ferment that I'm doing, but rather I'm going to talk about some of my experiences I've been having with how my pickles are keeping. I have a variety of different pickles here that I've experimented with over the summer, and some of them are keeping really good and some of them are definitely not. And so I thought I'd just quickly talk about what my experience has been with it so far. One of the things that excited me the most about the fermentation was pickles specifically, because it seemed almost like magic. You just take salt and you take the food and you put it together and you let it sit for a week or so, and ta-da! You don't need vinegar. It's pretty amazing to be able to have to cut out this entire step of what I've traditionally done as pickling for the canned pickles, of getting the vinegar and mixing everything up and cooking everything, and instead you just use the salt and the water and the vegetable that you're actually pickling and you get this crisp, delicious pickle, and it just seems like magic to me. But one thing that I was really interested in knowing was what was going to be the shelf life for it. Like this stuff that I was going to pickle over the summer, would it be able to carry me into the winter when my canned pickles would be there for me sitting on the shelf? I don't have to worry about anything. So I had my first pickle that I did, the pickled beans, and I had a few issues when I was doing these. I got a little bit of calm yeast and stuff on the top, so I obviously wasn't 100% sterile, 100% clean, 100% sealed up like what I should have been. And fair enough, it was like one of my first ferments, so I was willing to experiment. But I ended up with 4 big jars of these, and we ate the 2, and then these just kind of got lost at the back of the fridge. And I was going through the fridge the other day and I saw that they'd started to get the mold kind of layer on there. I wasn't sure until I opened it if it was going to be mold or just kind of like a calm yeast layer, but this is definitely mold. This is definitely, you don't want to eat this. Part of why I think this happened is I didn't have enough brine in it. There was some stuff that looks like it was way above, and stuff that, was below originally but is floated up. So you want to keep everything below the brine to keep it as healthy as possible. But this stuff, like this is going on like 2-3 months and it hasn't capped. And it was in the fridge where like it should be at ideal temperatures for it being as low mold potential as possible. Another failure that I have is this was a failure from the beginning because I forgot about it. This was a pickled watermelon rind that I made, and I stirred it up, I got it going, and then I got it into a room where I don't really go very often, and I wasn't paying attention to it, and I found it about a week later when I should have been like finishing it and completed. And it had a ton of stuff above the brine level. The brine level was way down and there was a bunch of food up above it. And so I brought it out somewhere a bit more obvious and then yet again forgot about it. And I found it last week and was like, oh, I should talk about this, because it was on its 4th or 5th week after starting the ferment, and it had a ton of stuff that was up above the brine level that was not looking bad at all. It was completely fine. There was no mold. It was healthy. It was good to go, even though it wasn't even in the brine. So I was thinking of it as being a really good example of just how resilient to molds the ferments are. But in the week that it's taken me to get around to actually talking about it, it now has gone totally moldy, and like it's got the bad mold in there. It's got like the dark molds. We're not even talking about a white mold here. We're talking about a like don't go near it green mold. So there is limits, but this really shocked me because I was doing it in the more like DIY home job style of the ferment seal of just a smaller jar in there. You know, I wasn't using the proper crock. It was just kind of using what I had sitting around. It was something that, you know, I hadn't put in a lot of thought or effort into. I did a 2.5% salt brine on it. This was, I actually weighed this to get the proper brine to proper salt to vegetable ratio. And it did really well. I was really impressed with this system, and I was really impressed with how well it lasted until it turned into this rot pot right here. This is gonna have a purpose. I've cultivated a mold here that that will grow in a very acidic environment. So I'm probably gonna use this mold culture to experiment with how easily it is to get mold on your kombuchas. So I'm gonna keep that, but I'm definitely gonna keep it away from the rest of my ferments where, you know, I don't need mold spores going through the house. Anyways, so the final ferment that I have that I've been super happy with is my sauerkraut. My sauerkraut, I did up a big thing of it. When I took it out of the crock, it was sour enough to be good to eat, but potentially not as sour as the flavor that some people prefer. It was still a little bit sweet for what I traditionally think of as a sauerkraut, but I did that on purpose because my plan with this was that I was going to be storing it in my cold storage rather than my fridge. And my cold storage was still a little bit warm because it was in the height of summer when I put it in there. So I wanted it to still be able to sour up a little bit over time in that slightly warmer than the fridge cold storage temperature, with the hope that that would kind of just get it to go kind of into Christmas kind of season when I'd start eating more things that I'd like the sauerkraut with, because it was a really big batch. And I went and I checked on them, and they're doing really good. And they've only soured up a little bit more. The flavor is still really nice. It shouldn't be overly sour anytime soon. So it is still on track to what I was hoping it would do. And all of the jars, they're super happy. Like there's nothing questionable starting to form inside these jars. So I've obviously succeeded with the sauerkraut, and I did have a few issues in the crock with the sauerkraut. So this, you know, this could have gone the way of the pickled beans, but I think the difference is I have everything packed in a little bit tighter, and I don't have as much of that issue of, you know, the candle up above the brine that I have here with the pickled beans. So, you know, I think I'm on 6 weeks now with the sauerkraut, and, you know, obviously mold can happen at any time, but it looks like it has the potential to go a few months still, happily. So overall, I've been pretty impressed with how well the ferments have kept. They obviously don't have the same shelf life of the proper canned pickles, but I mean the flavor and the crispness of the pickles that you get in the fermented variety definitely kind of make up for that. You know, I think that a lot of the issues that I'm having here, I mean, like this is a perfect example, is potentially issues with the person making the ferment, not with the ferment itself. And I feel like as I gain more experience with the fermented pickles, and as I learn more about the ways to keep everything properly sterilized, do everything, you know, just the right way, learn the brine percentages that I think are gonna work the best, you know, trying different brine percentages for different items depending on, you know, if they're more likely to mold or not. I feel like as I learn that stuff, my ferments are going to get a longer and longer shelf life. And one thing that I'm especially excited about is just how well my cold storage has done for the sauerkraut. So, you know, no one has space in their fridge to like just fill it with ferments, you know, like you gotta eat something other than just like salty snacks all day. So I'm excited to see that they can keep also in kind of those cool, dark places, not only in those, you know, regulated fridge type temperatures. So, you know, I've lost a lot of stuff here, a lot of work, but I'm excited for the future. The garden's finishing up here, so there's not really going to be a lot more stuff coming out that I can pickle with. Yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot this summer with the pickles, and I'm excited to continue experimenting with them next year. And even though I've lost some stuff, I feel like I have the potential to get my pickles to the point that I can get them preserved over the winter into when the fresh stuff starts again. And then at that point, like, I don't necessarily need to have, you know, a whole pantry full of pickles because I just have fresh stuff that I can eat. I've been doing a lot of the kombucha videos over the last couple Fridays, and I am super interested in the kombucha. There is still a few things that I would like to talk about in regards to the kombucha, but as the weather cools down, I'm looking into a few other ferments that I'd like to experiment with, and I'm interested to know what you guys would maybe be interested in seeing me try. One thing that I want to try this month is I want to do yogurt. My kids eat yogurt a lot, and I don't like the plastic waste that comes from getting like buckets and buckets of yogurt every week. I want to do some wine too, but that's obviously gonna have to be down the road for when I show you the diary, because the process for the wine is a little bit longer, so it's not like I can do it today and then make you a video for next week. But yeah, let me know below in the comments if there's something that you're interested in experimenting with, and I can give a look into it and try it myself. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to join me on the ferments. I mean, there's there's an infinite number of things still for me to ferment, so there definitely is going to be more of these. And I will see you all next week.